I just like to say, this idiot, you've been in the bush, but you've only been around where people are always there all the time. There ain't going to be no animals there. You get out in the Venezuelan jungle, and you're going to run into every kind of fucking thing. They would have killed you. If you're lucky, we found you. You know what lives here, man. You know it.
What
Don't
lives
say
there?
you don't. Well,
You know about the caima, the puma, the leopard, the ocelot? About 50 different breeds of poisonous reptiles? Are you aware of any of this? How long have you been around here?
14 months, Father.
The anaconda?
I'm not aware of all of it.
36 foot long? Can crush a horse in seconds? Don't you think you old water commodity? You didn't know about the great mammoth water commodity? The land commodity on top of it? Didn't you think you should have told your brother this? Tripping out in the jungles? Did you not think that this government is our ally?
Yes, Father.
Well, what did you think? How did you manage to think you were going to get in Venezuela with the government alerted? I've alerted every person in this government, from the Prime Minister on down. The Border Patrol said if you tried to cross, you'd be shot. How did you think you were going to get out of here?
I can go down there by the Burima River and stay down there.
They've all been alerted. No boat would dare pick you up. It's been a violation of law. All the canoes.
Most of y'all were already notified. They're coming up and down the river looking for you already. So you didn't have a chance in the world.
You think I've located in this jungle, knowing all the scalawags like you that have done this shit before, after been through Leon's lies? We knew that wasn't sufficient. If Leon could make it even though he's a vegetable, that wouldn't be enough for you people. We knew there'd be others. So we had firm working alliances. We wanted Leon gone, because we knew he was a babbling idiot by the time they found him. Talking about fighting in World War III. You heard all that. So we wanted him gone. We didn't want his big fat ass around. And the government said that it's lucky they weren't handling him. Anybody got any questions to ask these assholes that have taken all of our workforce today, spread out, got the Guyana Defense Force alerted, the Coast Guard alerted, the Border Patrol alerted, the Prime Minister's secret police alerted. Anybody have any? Minister of Agriculture alerted, and the Deputy Prime Minister alerted, and the Commissioner of Police alerted, and the Kaituma Police alerted, and the Matthews Ridge Police alerted, and the GNS alerted. Well, picked up, and it was a law that you had to be returned here. Anybody that violated it would be in trouble with the federal government. Anybody got any questions to these characters? Stand up and look at your fellow comrades. Stand back and let them look at their fellow comrades. Yes. Entails. You know that. Did you tell him that? If you picked up by jail, speaking against this country, speaking against black, speaking against socialism, going to Venezuela, did you bother to tell him about the cat o' nine tails? Why didn't you tell him about the cat o' nine tails? You weren't thinking of it?
No, Father.
To speak subversion against this country, to leave parent and home, to violate law and be out after curfew, you'd be eligible for 39 stripes with a cat o' nine tails. Yes, he had good design in watching him. We have made a vow. We have met too many pigs. We've met too many snakes. No, there's nothing in the an animal vocabulary that describes humans. We've met too many capitalists. Mangy capitalists. Vomitous capitalists. We've met too many of them, and they're past shenanigans. You are not going home to that fascist Babylon until our people are here. And then we'll be glad to be rid of the likes of both of you. want to tell us how this plan got concocted? Of course, you might as well know we have already a great deal of information. You want to tell us how it got concocted and what your plans were and exactly who laid the plan and who encouraged the person to begin it?
Father, we talked about it on my front porch and in the back there in the kitchen. Back there, that's how it got together. The day after I got brought up.
And Brother, you need to be standing up here because you allowed this to happen by putting him in charge of somebody else. You ought to stand up here and assume responsibility for letting this character. You ought to know better than to put them together. God, how this could have ended. 5 or 6 days after we dragged you out of the jungle. How this could have ended. Because you'd have finally had to go to the jungle. Because every government, you'd have been evident when they were stopping to pick you up. How do you suppose we knew where you were? You passed 2 government people. They informed us. All the natives informed us. We now have high-powered CBC units that evidently you're not alert to be aware of that travel miles. I don't really know what's come off with you idiots that you couldn't have more sense than this. Just how did you expect to get out of this country, you say? Go on the river?
I'm trying to go down to the Burima River and live down.
And what were you going to do when you got to the Marimba River?
Stay down there and fish, live off the land right there.
Live off the land down there?
Yes, Father.
In capitalist Venezuela. This socialist country will bring in an Air Force plane and give us free service when somebody's in need. Like our brother was paralyzed until I healed him. We couldn't cancel it. It was too late. When Brother Williams was healed, and same as Brother Swinney, he was paralyzed from a stroke. Brother Williams was paralyzed from an industrial accident, the boom hitting him. But they come in here free and take them out back to the hospital. In capitalist Venezuela, the revolution is not complete there. They found you there. You'd be held until you could pay your way back. They'd hold you in a jail. There's no floor. It's something like Devil's Island. The jails here are humane because since the revolution, they've made them humane for you. But they're still a cat o' nine tails. And I think they must know what they're doing because they're socialists and they still choose to use the cat o' nine tails. I guess we'll have to get the cat o' nine tails to be in conformity with the law. And believe me, if you get whipped 39 times with the cat o' nine tails, you will be carried out. This is goddamn proof that Mao knew what he was talking. That there's only one way to change people. It's out of the barrel of a gun. Okay, now what are you going to do when you get down there? You're going to live off the fish in perpetuity? Immortally? Eternally? You're going to live off a fish there in Venezuela?
Yes, Father. And to find a job there, so.
Find a job there. You've got a job here, you've got free medical care, you've got free housing, and if you qualify, free education, it could send you to the Soviet Union, to any... Of course, you're a capitalist. You talk openly about this. You want to get to a capitalist country. You too?
No, Father. My plans was to go to Venezuela. Plans were to go as far as the ridge or something like that and then live around there.
My Guyana, don't you know that this government, I'm a personal friend of the leader of the party? Of the Marxist-Leninist party? I'm a personal friend of his? I've done missions for him, you idiotic fools. You all better be listening. Don't you know that he wouldn't allow that? You'd have been picked up and brought to here, and if you didn't come here, you'd have had to go to jail. How do you suppose I've been able to survive with all the conspiracy and fascist pigs that have been on our backs? The government's with us. The only people that are venturing in here are coming in from Venezuela. Conspirators that are paid assassins, are kidnappers. But Jesus Christ, this government's with us. I'm a friend of the Minister of Immigration. We were able to lay we had a few problems from the conspiracy with customs, and all it took was one phone lifted up, and now everybody sails through like they were the kings and queens of state. We had to have a strong government behind us because they were determined to hound us all the way over here. Have a strong commitment from this government. They've told us, the foreign minister, I told all of you, you idiots, if you were listening, that if they came, they'd have to come over his dead body to get me. How many heard me make that statement? Then how did you presume you're going to live in Matthews Ridge?
I just did. I just thought I could.
Shit. It'd been good if you'd lived out there for a month without the shelter of the most socialistic cooperative. This government calls this the best cooperative in the world. Because you have all the shelter, all the protection. It'd been good if you'd been out there 30 days. And the government didn't arrest you. It'd be too bad. Of course, all of us have been concerned about your asses, whether you were dying slowly from some disease, some tropical disease deep in the jungles, or had been eaten partly by a tiger, or rather a leopard, or a puma, or whatever the hell you might be suffering out there, vegetation, just doing with the ordinary exposure. You don't evidently know the jungle. You better not try to make kindred with the jungle without a guide. It's got an intuition to get you through it, like I have. Wouldn't have dreamed go in this jungle if I hadn't proven my own intuition. I took the first party of settlers here and led them around and right back to the dining room where we were at, in the thicket of a jungle. You don't have that kind of system to lead you in the jungle. You wouldn't want to be there all night. I don't know what this bird knows. You were going to Matthews Ridge and he was going to Venezuela, huh? You going to eat fish? Who said this business about eating fish?
I did, Father.
How are you going to Matthews Ridge? That's not the way to live it. Your stories don't gel.
On the way there tonight, we spent our trip down by the river and then took fish there. And we took in the morning and we go on towards Aircock and going up to the ridge.
Oh, God, the great adventurers. Who's going to provide your medical care? Who's going to provide your food? There's unemployment here. We're the only cooperative that got total employment because the fascists have tried to destroy this country by destabilization, by raising high tariff barriers to their exports. And so there's no free trade. And we're the only ones that got full employment, full medical care, because this country barely holds together. It wouldn't hold together if it hadn't been for us. When the CIA tried to overthrow us, Russia told them that they were watching us. And that caused the CIA to lay off of our ass, and the governments too. In a sense, we saved the good leadership of this government because of our prior associations with the Soviet Union. We've had strong and friend ties, warm bonds of eternal friendship between us and the mother of the socialist revolution. Her missile might, when she gave a public notice to this foreign minister's government, he was proud that it came. The foreign minister told us, and you can check with all the parties that were there, Paula and Debbie, I don't know who all the parties were that were in the foreign minister's office, that the Soviet Union gave them notice that anything, gave the acting government the time when the good leaders were out of the country and it was about overthrown. Some of you don't know the nightmare of what we went through to fight for this country and save this land. You know. And the Soviet Union was so brave that they would even risk a nuclear confrontation by saying, hands off a people's temple. When the good leaders were out and they were trying to kill us off here, they said, hands off, because the Soviet Union is watching what happens to Jones and his people. They're our friends and we want nothing to go wrong with them. That's what the Soviet Union said. I'm talking about the great Soviet Union. That's tremendous that a country would risk nuclear war. That's what that kind of a statement would risk. You're abominable. You think the country's going to let you move freely here when they need us, 700 people in an economy here, producing, providing them with new careers, medicine, every associated career, the academics and technical skills? You think they're going to let you do what you want over and above our wishes of 700, nearly 800 strong? Who do you think they're going to listen to? And what do you think we're going to do? Let people walk out of here and go to Matthews Ridge to live their nefarious life? You produce what kind of life you could do. First thing you did when you took your liberty and sold our things, you made liquor that would have killed anybody. You both engaged in drugs. You think we're going to allow that kind of thing to be under our nose? We only know what anarchists will do when they're under our nose. It's obviously our nose wasn't tight enough, but it'll be tight tonight. Your ass is going to be tight in the bind tonight. But you put us through, and what kind of story was you going to tell? What was going to be your story about this place? Now tell me the truth for a change. We know the whole song and dance. Everybody goes out prepared to lie. If you'd have had a listening ear, nobody listened to you.
Somebody asked me what
What kind of story did you tell? You met some people.
One lady asked me, where was I from? I told her I was from Port Kaituma. And she goes, oh, and then that's just when we went on.
What were you going to say, friend?
That's what I was going to say that I chose to go on my own, and that I chose to go on my own, and that I was given a choice, and so I took it. That's what I was going to say for anyone asked me.
Do you believe this? Do you buy this?
Really?
Here, you know this? Do you know? You remember this? You ought to know this. One of our workers was attacked by the big cat, lost his eye, deep cutting scratches into his chest and back, left permanently impaired and crippled. Cat in the jungle. Well, I would think that stories like this better get around. There's nothing to fear in this environment because we have a protective aura. Nothing comes in here. No snakes bother us. We've never been poisoned. Never been, not one that's ever bit us. Well, you know about all those poisonous snakes. Snake that travels the speed of a car. What is it?
Little boy.
Yeah. And how many times can it bite you before you even know you're being bit?
7 times.
Didn't you think that was highly significant? Trudging out there along the edges of the road where you had to go back and in and out of in the wood. You can't afford to go any distance at all. There's swamps on both sides of this road. They're going to Matthews Ridge. And certainly you can't get any further than the port. Didn't you think you owed it to him to tell him a little bit of the risk? He doesn't know shit from apple butter. You've lived here. You've lived here a long while. You didn't think you'd meet a laborer. Do you think Father's going to protect you when you're out there against everything in his will? You people are outrageous.
That's what happens when you start traveling. What kind of comrades are you? Go with him and you trust him.
There are no camaraderie. There's no camaraderie. There's no only an alliance, both to do their own thing. One's going to live in Matthews Ridge, and I don't know what the other was going to do. What were you going to do? Call your mother?
No, Father, I knew I couldn't go back, so I was just going to live down by the river.
No, you couldn't. Your mother said if you found you, we sent you back. Probation. Turn you over to probation. That means you go to jail with your record.
You're very lucky to get on with Tom, because he was doing the end. That's the first thing that caused him some problems.
Leave this place. You think you're going to find a good life out there? You think you're going to be able to make enough to live on? When you got malaria outside of here, people who got malaria everyone except in this place. When you got malaria and your temperature runs up to 105, if you don't have some way of controlling it, it goes to 106 and your brain is damaged. You go blind. What the hell are we going to do then?
I was just thinking about, like, when I first came here, I wonder what it's like to survive out of the bush.
What do you think? Should we fence off a part of the bush tonight and let them see how it is to survive out there? Don't give us no bullshit. You have cost this land. You cost us several $1,000s today. In phone calls back to states about what we do with your mother, come get in. All these people have to be notified. She don't want shit to do with you, man. No relative going to take you back there, man. They won't take your responsibility. You've just been picked up if you'd got there. Anybody else got something to say to these two? I don't know how the psychologist to talk to. You had a psychologist, a beautiful woman to talk to, like a mother to you, and what the hell you did just trumpet in the ground. Don't you think it's a bit parasitical to live in a socialist country when you didn't like socialism? You're going to live up here on your own? This is a socialist country, committed to having all of their people live on cooperatives like ours. Only you don't get the benefits that we do, closed-circuit TV and a movie. They haven't got that kind of benefits yet to offer, because they're trying to save their nation. Don't you think it's a bit disgustingly hypocrite to want to live in a socialist country when you were pledged to capitalism like you've made your open statements? What is it? He is. Well, now there's nothing private. Your kid's counsel is all obliterated. Your privileged relationship with your counselor no longer exists in this room. She's ordered by the good of the collective. She's ordered by the good of the collective to tell everything you've said.
Father has been very good to you, and I don't have any commitment to you, because you've already told me that you're not interested in this cause, you don't care, you're willing to go back to fascism, and if they torture people, well, you may watch, you may not watch, you may get involved, you may not get involved, you're totally unconcerned, you just want to live to do your own thing, that's what you said, right?
Shift, please. You may get involved and you may not get involved.
Don't act humble right now because you don't mean it. You're humble looking.
You better come up with some honesty tonight, because you're going to get a lesson nobody has ever had yet. And how much of a lesson depends upon how honest you can get. No bullshit games with it. Yes, sister. It's going to all be blown up. You saw it. You surely both saw that movie, No Blade of Grass. Both of you saw that. How did you relate to that? Didn't that seem very much at home with white Americans?
Father.
Don't you think that's going to happen? What?
Father.
I'm puzzled about why you could think you could get more protection, more love, more support out there trying to live alone. You haven't got a doctor out there. We have the only doctor in the Northwest District. Absolutely only one.
Police come in here to get treated by the damn doctor. Where do you think they do that? They got a doctor in Port Kaitumo and Matthews Ridge. Why the fuck do you think they come to us?
Their doctors are all killed by the capitalist system that you don't mind. That you don't mind whether you wish to help them torture or whether you stand by and watch. The Yankee imperialists blew all their young doctors who were worthy to live, and you two don't even have the right to live, the kind of parasites that you are. They were all blown up, along with 60 other Cuban fine students were blown up by our fascist CIA. October last. That's why they have no doctor but our doctor. The young woman that was to be posted up here, the young Indian, and a young black that was supposed to be at Marburuma. Both blown to pieces by the capitalists that you have no contempt for. The capitalists that you would even participate with in their tortures. The capitalists which you will take the prerogative, you filth, you vile filth. You're vile. You're evil. You're insidious. You're low.